Talk. We are privileged to have Balakrishna Ji with us today, and he's going to share his experiences about the time spent at Antarctica for 98 days. A brief introduction of Dr. K. Balakrishna Ji. He was born in Shirali, Uttar Kannada district on 19th of July 1969 by the young persons. He is postgraduate in geology from Karnataka University, Hyderabad, with a gold medal. That is in 1992. He has obtained a PhD in marine geology from Bombay University in 1989. He was a postdoctoral fellow at Physical Research Laboratory, ISRO, University of Paul Sabatier, Toulouse, France, and visiting scientist at the Max Planck Institute of Chemistry at Mainz, Germany. Presently is working as a professor of geology in the Department of Civil Engineering, MIT Manipal. He has recently completed two research projects that is funded by Ministry of Physics Sciences, worth ₹74 lakhs. This work is on the comparison of presence of organic contaminants in the eastern Antarctic environment and in the tropical rivers of the southwest coast of India. Actually, he has worked on many different topics, different subjects, different universities and labs as well. Biodata is quite brief. A lot of things to explain about him, but I'll just explain about the main points. He is the recipient of Karnataka State Government Award, that is Dr. Satish Dhawan Young Achiever Award in the year 2013. He has also held a prestigious Dr. TMA Pai Endowment Chair in the Earth Sciences during the year 2014-2016. He is widely traveled and visited Europe, US, Canada, Australia, Japan, China, and South Africa. In 2013, he has served as a visiting scientist at the Department of Environmental Health Sciences at State University of New York, Albany, USA for 6 months. He was also a part of 37th Indian Scientific Expedition to Antarctica in the year 2017-18 and spent 98 days in Antarctica, and today he is going to share his experiences about this research project. He has around 50 articles published in the peer-reviewed scientific journals. He has also written several popular science articles in Kannada in popular dailies and magazines, and his interviews are broadcasted all on India Radio as well. Sir, with this brief introduction, I'll request you to just take us around through your speech to the Antarctica. Over to you, sir.
Good evening once again, all of you. This is one dream I had right from my childhood days when I started learning about Antarctica in the school, whether we can go there and so on. Well, then it was dormant, but then once I was back here as a faculty at Manipal, then suddenly one of my colleagues who used to work in Antarctica, there's one center dedicated for Antarctic research in India called as National Center for Polar and Ocean Research in Goa. So I got in touch with him, and then he said, your dream to go to Antarctica can be realized if you have a good research proposal on Antarctica. And every year, Government of India calls for such research proposals from anyone. It can be from a professor, or it can be from a scientist, or it can be from organizations like you also, JanyuTech as well, provided it is relevant or it somehow helps them in the Antarctic research. So there it all started about some 10 years ago. I went to Antarctica finally in 2017. As already 5 years now. That's the background. Well, why I went to Antarctica, that also let me just quickly tell what I did. These days, just yesterday only, the Antarctic bill was passed in the Indian Parliament, which talks about protecting Antarctica, environmentally sensitive. It's the most pristine land on Earth as of now. So to protect that, further any possible human interference, this Antarctic bill is passed. So, well, my work, I am also an environmentalist basically. So we were trying to already limited biodiversity in Antarctica, whether all those pollution from the Indian stage research station to be specific, but there's over 50 research stations across Antarctica. So whether any pollutants are entering into the Antarctic waters and the limited biodiversity is affected and so on and so forth. That was my proposal and so on. So that's the background. So, okay, now you can see in this map itself, that Antarctica is truly isolated from all the main continents. The nearest that can come to Antarctica is the southern tip of Argentina and Chile, maybe about 1,000 kilometers. But then the rest of the, for New Zealand is about 2,000 plus kilometer. South Africa's Cape Town is about 3,000 plus kilometers. So that's why it is remained as pristine continent, of course. And also, Antarctica is having several superlatives. It's the coldest continent. It is the brightest continent. It can be called as the darkest also, because it has 6 months daytime and 6 months nighttime. And it is also the continent with highest altitude, and it also is the continent with very high winds. These are all the several superlatives which we have. Okay, these are the things. I'll skip this. Why people are all the scientists are interested in Antarctica? What research they are doing? There is a kind of prediction that by 2100, if the same kind of global warming continues, then the entire we may not be there, but the entire Antarctic ice sheets can melt, and almost all the Indian coastal cities would be underwater. It's predicted that about 100 meters raise will be there in the sea level, which can almost merge all the coastal cities of the world, not only India. So the research is going on that, and research is going on the past Earth's past climate and so on, which is all recorded in the ice cores of Antarctica. So multiple things are there, which if there is any questions, I will ask on that. I will discuss on that. So in India, what does India do in Antarctica? As I told you, sea level rise, and then the movement of Antarctic oceanic currents, cold currents, and its connection to the Pacific Ocean, to the Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, and the change in climate, including monsoons and so on. Paleoclimate, I told you, crustal evolution, meteorites. Meteorites is one thing which can be easily found in Antarctica because it's a white continent. You can identify the meteorites there. Research is going on that. Environmental processes, conservation, polar technology. Maybe this is area, maybe JanyuTech may be interested, because you're in a big way into robotics, because there Antarctica vehicles are not there. There is no road, no networks, and everything has to be. There is a need for a good vehicle, probably a good robotic vehicle without a driver, which can take us one around in Antarctica and so on. They do work on the Indian team wants research on Antarctica specific to renewable energy also, which is also your area, and drilling technology, communication, and autonomous vehicles and so on. For process of selection, as a professor, I have to submit a research proposal, and then it will be reviewed by an expert committee, and then I have to defend before the experts, and finally, if it's found okay, I am given the green signal. But that doesn't mean I qualify to go to Antarctica, because health checkups are needed. One has to be physically fit. So at All India Institute of Medical Science, there will be a 5-day medical checkup will be there, thorough medical checkup. After that, then we need to go to Indo-Tibetan Border Police Facility, Mountaineering Institute at Auli in Uttarakhand. There's about 10-12 days of acclimatization is being done. After that, if we qualify both these things, then one is allowed to go to Antarctica. But normally scientists, like diabetes or blood pressure, okay, they're still permitted with adequate medication, but not the serious illness, because there will be no medical doctors available there. Doctors will be there, but basic things only is possible. And then once one is selected to Antarctica, he's taken off his regular passport and given an official white passport. So Well, you might ask me, can't we go directly from ship here, from here to Antarctica? Yes, we can go, but for logistical reasons, they are not. They've stopped going that now. They go via South Africa. So South Africa means visa is needed. But if we have an official passport, then visa is not needed. So Cape Town is the southernmost tip of South Africa from where we left to Antarctica. Well, this is that training at Auli. All these physical trainings are done: rope climbing, rappelling, trekking daily, about 8-10 kilometers, carrying some 20 kgs of weight, and so on. These are all the life-saving survival skills. In case if an Antarctica, if one falls in a crevasse, then how he can save himself. These are all, this kind of skills are taught there. Well, this is a little bit brief history of how the map of the world was there. The map of the world was there. For example, this MA stands for million years. 550 million years ago, Earth is now 4,500 million years old. Earth. So now 500. Forget about that remain part. But 550 million years ago, the map of the world was like this. Look at India here. In fact, our Kanyakumari southern tip today was the northern tip actually, and the north was kind of exactly overturned south. Where is Antarctica? Antarctica was at that time 550 million years ago. Antarctica was almost in the tropical region where India is today. In such kind of, it's very. That's why Antarctica has a lot of coal deposits. Coal deposits because the forests are there. Once upon a time, there was thick forest in Antarctica, and all those got dumped, buried, and then coal deposits are there. Petroleum is there. Well, Antarctica, one is not allowed to do any mineral exploration now or drill anything petroleum and so on. Antarctica, or for any military purpose, Antarctica is only right now for scientific purposes and research purposes. But what I'm trying to tell here is how the map of the world has changed. This is something called as plate tectonics. You might ask me, Antarctica, is it only icy continent? Well, ice only on the surface, but beneath, the average elevation of Antarctica is about 3 kilometers. 3 kilometer thick of ice sheets are there, and beneath you have the rocks. The same type of rock, India was once attached with Antarctica. You saw the previous map. So the similar type of rocks, whatever is there in India, is there in Antarctica also. The difference is that Antarctica remained in the South Pole, whereas India traveled from the South Pole. Later, if you can see here, India, Antarctica, and Australia, they were all together in the South Pole. India was also once upon a time in the South Pole, but then today it is here. Antarctica remained in the same place here. So there's a chartered flight. India is hiring a chartered flight from Cape Town. About every year, about 100 scientists, not scientists as such, maybe about 50 scientists every year, and another 70 are the logistic people, because there is more logistics needed to cater to the scientists. So far, if you ask me, about 2,000 to 2,000, about 2,500 Indians have gone officially to Antarctica. 2,500 scientists in the last 40 years have visited Antarctica. Okay, please look at this map here. This is the map of Antarctica, and you can see here that the northernmost tip we have Maitri station, which is India's oldest station. 1987 it was constructed, and then we have in the southern Bharati. So the distance between Maitri and Bharati station is about 3,000 kilometers. And then we have about 50 different stations all along the coast of Antarctica. 50 countries have about 80 stations across the coast. The pole, southernmost one is Amundsen Scott, USA, is having one station here. Well, who owns Antarctica? Nobody owns actually. It's governed by Antarctica Treaty. However, some countries are claiming the land, including Australia is claiming in a big way. The whole this Australian Antarctic territory, that's what they're claiming. This I got it from their own map. So that's why it looks like that. But there's again people from France, Norway, Argentina, Chile, New Zealand. They are all having their claims, which is not recognized. We don't need any visa to go to Antarctica, or yeah, maybe just a passport, because there is no border control there and so on. Well, so landed in Antarctica, it's about 5 hours by flight from Cape Town to Antarctica. To the northern, I came to this region. From Cape Town, I came to Maitri. Not exactly Maitri. It's about the Russian station is just about 20 kilometers from here. There is an air base. There's no airport in Antarctica. It just flight lands on ice sheets. Ice sheets. Again, the weather is and all are very unpredictable. We had to wait in Cape Town for 15 days to go to Antarctica, because Antarctica, every minute the weather changes and there will be a snowfall. And if there is a snowfall on that so-called runway, makeshift runway, then the flights are not permitted. There is no airport as such, but makeshift airports are there. This is the moment which I videographed when I just landed in Antarctica. Maybe you can also share that. I don't know whether that. I'll try to play that video. So this is the vehicles that they use in Antarctica. This is called as piston bully. You can about 15 people can sit inside, and it has a heating system. When I landed, it was about minus about my wind chill was about minus 10 degrees Celsius. And yeah, as I told you, yeah, this is like an army tank with belts and so on. It moves, and yeah, so on. This is the Maitri station, set up in 1987 by India. Look at this station. These are all living module is very comfortable. As you can see in the next slide, it's made up of the ship's containers. I think you would have seen it in the roads. Huge trucks carrying such kind of ship's containers. So these containers are modified and made as a living module. You can see how inside. Can you guess that this is all inside a ship's container? There's a big dining hall is there, and in fact, we had all arrived from Antarctica in Maitri station, and we were being welcomed actually. So that was a function was organized. While I was in Maitri station, one incident occurred. We were all comfortably there and this is the main building. This is the main building of Maitri station. Well, why I'm showing this here is this toilet. The toilets are dry toilet. Antarctica, what is happening is how to dispose this toilet sludge. That is being done. Maitri, since it is constructed in 1987, we have got permission to incinerate it. Incinerate, I mean burn off the human waste sludge. So to facilitate in the burning of this sludge, they are asking us to use it as a dry toilet. Dry, I mean we cannot urinate along with the when we have our second call. So urination has to be done separately in a separate location. and then this is only, and furthermore we need to put in some kind of a paper and then do that. There's a lot of procedures, so one needs to get used to that. We have come to Bharati station now, 3000 kilometers. We have come in the flight, and then in the Bharati station, well, you can see here the rocks are exposed. Ice is no more there. This is called as the Antarctic oasis. And it's the Antarctic oasis. I mean, it's a very dry region where even the snow will not fall, or that it's a very highly windy region where all the snow will get taken off. That's the region where the countries set up the stations. Well, this is the more modern station called as Bharati station. It was constructed in 2012. Here, the toilet issue is not there. It's a regular toilet. But here, the issue is that entire all the we can't incinerate the sludge. It all has to be, whatever the flush will all be collected, and separately the sludge will be put in kind of empty drums and then brought back to India for disposal. Because Antarctica is a kind of a no toleration for any waste there, zero toleration rather, and not even a single morsel of rice will be thrown in Antarctica. It will have to come back to India. That's why Antarctica is still pristine. So this was built in 2012, and then with ships containers, with about 27,000 square area. These are the statistics, and it can be disassembled also within 2 weeks time. Can withstand up to 340 kilometers per hour because it's a very windy continent, and power. Electricity is through combined heat and power, using this aviation turbine fuel and diesel kind of a generator, and then whatever heat generated is used to heat the station. Inside the station, it will be a comfortable 22-23 degrees Celsius. So one can be in t-shirt inside the station. So this is now I am sitting inside the Bharati station. From my window, I am trying to look at outside, and let me try to share that. You can also see how it looks like yourself. Those were all the frozen ocean. Ocean is completely frozen. This is inside our meeting hall. And outside, you see our uniform in Antarctica, about 4 layers. We should have a thick shoes, thick socks, and this is the overalls. And then inside we have one middle layer, and then there's a normal regular dress, thermal wear, and we should have always wear a black goggle. Actually, this is not permitted like this. We have to wear because the reflection is too strong. The solar radiation, it can kind of affect our eyes. It can cause permanent blindness. So actually, we are standing on the ocean. It's completely frozen ocean here. And this is a small vehicle called a skidoo. Earlier I showed you the piston bully. This is called as a skidoo, which goes along the ice sheets, or this is actually the ocean. Actually, these are all the small islands, and Bharati station is on the right hand side. GPS is a must there. Such kind of cracks, crevasses are also there. So that's why in Antarctica we are not allowed to go alone. One has to kind of go always with a buddy who is experienced. Normally an ex-serviceman will be there who will come with us to our field areas wherever we want to collect the sample. So this is my sampling, water sample and so on, which I was collecting to look into the pollution. In one such place, this seal had cut open this overlying frozen ice sheet and then come out and was relaxing. So then I went there and took the sample. This is another unique rock types here. Rock types are the same which in India also we have, but this kind of a honeycomb-like structure is pretty unique. Why? Because as I told you, it's a very windy continent. Wind brings in a lot of icy material and then blasts or hits against this rock and creates such kind of a honeycomb-like structure there. Since I'm a geologist, I could collect some rock samples as well. This is a laboratory inside. How does the station look inside? Well, how does it look? We have some recreation also inside the station, music and so on. We celebrate some birthdays, Republic Day, or national holidays, and so on as well. There, it was Republic Day at that time, so there was some yeah. The two doctors were these. She's a doctor. She is also a doctor. He is a Navy gentleman, and he was the ship's leader, and he was a kind of telecommunication man. All these logistic guys were there. Yeah, some Russian invitees were also there for our Republic Day. And here we need to. There is no kind of they have India has appointed a chef for the cooking. The conventional regular our dal, roti, and rice, everything is available. Yeah, but fresh fruits only comes for once in a year, and it gets over within 1 month, 1.5 month. All are frozen. But and secondly, that it's a kind of a Shramadhan there, so there is no kind of cleaning squad and so on. Either I'm a professor or a scientist or a kind of a attendant or a chef. Everybody will have to do the cleaning of the kitchen, assist the cook in the cooking, or mop the floor, or clean the toilet. Everything has to be done. It comes on rotation. So now I had got the rotation of helping the cook in the kitchen. Well, such kind of gym and other activities are also there. Living room looks like this, two in a room. At that time when I went, it was 24 hours daylight, so we were not getting sleep, so we used to close this window. But had I opened the window, then it would have been very bright. You can see that whatever snow here and so on. So I had some difficulty to get the sleep initially, but then it was fine. In the winter, it's 24 hours night time actually. Well, we have the puja hall and so on. Waste management, I already told in the beginning that sludge is sent to India, and wastewater, whatever is from urinals and kitchen and so on, it's treated through membrane bioreactor. So it's time I come back to India. Then we had the ship. I was supposed to come in ship, but then there's another story. That ship we were traveling got into an accident, and then again this ship is now no more there. It's went to scrap. Thankfully we survived and we came back safely, and another 1 month we were stranded. And then I was supposed to come in 60 days. That's why it extended to 98 days. And this is ISRO's antenna, Bharati station. Well, along with the ship came the helicopter. So and at the same time it was peak of summer, and the frozen sea started melting, and then we had no choice to go by skidoo. Then we had to take samples through the helicopter. Then we started having night, a little bit of 2 hours of darkness, 2.5 hours of darkness, and so on. And we could. I'll come back to that. So this is the most elusive animal, penguin, which it's in textbook. We see Antarctica is known for penguins, but it is very elusive. We didn't see. I saw this on the 95th day of my stay, because once the sea started melting, then only a penguin came, because food was available. When the sea starts melting, so the penguins. This is the emperor penguin, which is our waist height. This is the Adelie penguin. As soon as we see penguin, we have to sit down. Otherwise, it will run away to take a picture. But we are not strictly permitted to feed them or touch them. Any animal in Antarctica banned according to the as per the Antarctica Treaty. It is unique to southern pole and northern pole. Because of the solar winds and interacting with our oxygen and nitrogen and getting excited and so on. So a good view I could see by the time I came back to India. This is from another friend's photo.
Can you highlight us on the bill? slightly, and because you are from the same faculty.
It is actually connected with the National Center for Polar and Ocean Research. So they are being budgeted every year by the Indian Parliament. About I think 150 crores is earmarked every year for the Antarctica expedition. So this Antarctic bill will also earmark this particular bill which came up in Parliament. I think they want a special budget for environmental research or environmental protection of Antarctica. Right, so far there's not much they were doing on environmental research or environmental protection. So they want a budgetary approval for the environmental conservation in Antarctic region. That's what I could grab from the newspapers.
Your research was specific to what area, sir?
I actually see India has that. I told about the wastewater, whatever from the toilets, whatever the wastes are going, that is all treated and then let into the adjacent ocean, frozen ocean I showed you. Now, in spite of the treatment, does it still contain any of these harmful contaminants, especially organic? I went to look for some organic contaminants like oxybenzone. In Antarctica, people use plenty of sunscreen lotions because of the harmful UV radiations are there. To protect their skin, they use these sunscreen lotions. It contains some antibacterial called as oxybenzone. That was one compound that I measured among other things. So various such pharmaceutical compounds that are escaping the treatment. We use a treatment technology called as membrane bioreactor technology. That is not able to, we found from our studies, which also the report is given to the government, that technology is not able to remove these particular compounds, and it is entering into the ocean, and it can affect sensitive organisms like krill. Krill is plentifully abundantly available in the ocean, and it's a food for the penguins. This is all about Antarctica bill about probably to protect the environment. They need such kind of So my research was mostly to identify whether the treatment, whatever the wastewater that's coming from Indian station, Chinese station, they were not permitting, but we got it from outside, and Russian station and so on. So whether they are polluting the adjacent ocean. And we found to a certain extent, yes, and we are already, Indian government is taking some action to refine the treatment technology.
Okay. In another question, sir, you are mentioning that we are having 2 labs 3,000 kilometers away.
Yes.
And some of the countries have a few more labs also. Is it the east and west part or the north and south part of this have a different quality or different environmental this thing for us to do a research? Or what is the need for having 2-3 stations each countries?
Yes, sir. Now, Antarctica is about 4.2 times bigger than India in size. So each geographical area has its own characteristics to be studied. For example, now South Pole, right on the tip of the bottommost portion, there is a US station is there, and also on the coast also, US has about, I think, 4 stations. Russia has 4 stations. China has 4 stations at different parts of Antarctica to find because in each area the temperatures, the climatic conditions can be different, and the snowfall pattern and so on. That will all help in their research or in better understanding the ice melt. Because for example, if you say there's 2 divisions: Western Antarctica, Eastern Antarctica. Western Antarctica is getting warmer, whereas Eastern Antarctica is getting colder. That's what the research is telling. Okay. And the stations in Western Antarctica, Eastern Antarctica, they can convey these results more convincingly. Maybe that is a reason probably. They have multiple stations.
Last question, sir. The dressing or the food material, is it equivalent to or anywhere related to the space suits or what our astronauts have in the space missions? Is it connected or is it?
I think no, sir. This is normal warm clothing. Normal warm clothing that we get in. Now, for example, our Indian military also uses that. It is normal branded clothing warm clothing, which is prescribed for kind of polar. It's meant as a polar suit or something like that. Polar, but I think places like Kashmir also, in Kargil or whatever in Leh, Ladakh, same kind of clothing is used.
Okay.
Which, yeah.
Since the physical activity seems to be very less there when you during your stay, how was the food intake and diet compared to what you have currently here, and the water
Yeah,
intake
food
also?
intake was much lesser, much lesser. Yeah, we in fact, physical activity in the field while on the field, walking on the ice, it's very taxing. In fact, our station used to be 100 meters above the mean sea level, so we need to climb up, and especially in cold conditions, in minus temperatures, walking gets very taxing. Daily kind of we were had to do that work, and then inside we were having the gym and other things are there, but even then we didn't feel like eating more food actually. In fact, I lost some 4 5 kilos when I came back from Antarctica. And food also is frozen food and so on, which of course we can once in a month, once in a year we get the ships, whatever ship that came, it gets the food, and the fresh vegetables, fresh fruits will be all over.
And what was the source for the drinking waters?
Drinking, they use the salt water itself, salt water, then they use the reverse osmosis technology, and then they use it. That's why it is expensive, and they're not permitting us to take bath and so on. That limited water has to be used because it's expensive.
And what was the source for the drinking waters?
Drinking, they use the salt water itself, salt water, then they use the reverse osmosis technology, and then they use it. That's why it is expensive, and they're not permitting us to take bath and so on. That limited water has to be used because it's expensive.
How does the government decide how much funding is to be allocated for such outer continental research? And there could be many other factors in the budget. And how does someone influence more budget for such scenarios?
Since as I know, from 1981, Indira Gandhi government onwards, they started this Antarctic research. Their intention is one strategic also, like now India has a presence in Antarctica, so government's interest not only is science, they have a kind of military, well, not in openly no, but for example, Pakistan doesn't have a station in Antarctica. I don't know for what reasons, but so for strategic reasons also they want to, there's one thing. And other than that, the research, of course, because we are also now kind of competing with China and other developed nations, so we don't want to fall behind in Antarctica research like the Western. So that is all driving the government to allocate a budget about 100, as I told you, 150 crores per year is the budget. That's, and further I think now the Antarctic will give more budget for that, and probably that is driving the policy of and they want the whole year running Antarctic. Some countries, they only use Antarctic station in summer. Now in the winter it is very expensive because flights are also not there. Once March is coming, March, April, the last ship will come in March. After that, April, May, June, July, August, there is completely Antarctica is cut off. No flights are also landing because, but then it's very expensive to run the station. But still, India is running both the stations because, it wants it strategically.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.